course of the program. PDP NEC gets zoning reports today amid convention crisis. Locals beg FG as Osun, Ondo federal roads crumble. And also, Yoruba leaders push for Makinde Adeleke's intervention in Alaafin Ooni conflict. Sick and stranded. Presidential order fails to curb soaring drug prices. Essential medicines still on despite tax waivers. Pharmacies struggle amid weak naira. FG shuts 22 illegal tertiary institutions. A pregnancy faking widow nabbed with cocaine in Lagos. FG begins phase 2 of 12,000 megawatts cement power project. Well, those are the headlines on the cover page of the Punch newspaper. And let's look at the Guardian newspaper now. Malema, Africa's future dependent on political economy in Nigeria. That's South Africa, Nigeria and South Africa. The window headlines: U.S. Obasanjo flayed judiciary over perceived graft. El-Rufai, opposition leaders collapse Kaduna SDP into ADC. NLNG sales packed with gas suppliers to aid production expansion. And also, coalition, ADC warn of looming security collapse. Urge Tinubu to act. NNPCL deduct 235.6 billion naira in 7 months for oil search in North Frontier basins. FG, 1 trillion naira needed yearly to sustain school feeding program. All right, that's where, you tell us how it has fared in your constituency. Yoruba elders appeal to Ooni Alaafin to end rift. NMA Lagos threatens solidarity strike over unpaid salaries, welfare. Benue Speaker resigns 48 hours after suspending 4 lawmakers. Ramfuck under fire over upward review of politicians' remuneration. Well, these are the headlines out there. And, let's start off with, this bold headline there. Malema, Africa's future, dependent on political economy in Nigeria and South Africa. He made that speech during the NBA conference yesterday. Chukuma, why are you smiling?
Yes, I'm smiling. I'm smiling because, it's like pitching South Africa and Nigeria against each other. Competitively. Anyway, competitively, because, for a very long time, right from when Nigeria got independence in 1960, that time it was the apartheid regime, and Nigeria was, they did all they could at that time to fight apartheid, became a member of the frontline states, even though we're not contiguous to South Africa, with South Africa and all of that, how we supported them. And then they gained independence, and not that they gained independence, apartheid ended, ended. And Nelson Mandela, one of Africa's best sons of the last and present century, became the president, did all that he did. But so at that point, something that was a regional rivalry, a continental rivalry between Nigeria and South Africa. Between Nigeria and South Africa. South Africans forgot everything that Nigeria did for them, unfortunately, And they always, instead of putting us in the front seat, we took a back seat. But Nigeria didn't help too, because at that point, Nigeria became a pariah nation, because we were passing through a period of military regime, the Commonwealth Conference in Durban, where despite all the pleas by Nelson Mandela and all of that, Abacha couldn't hit that, and he went on and killed Serowiwa and Yogoni 9 and all of that. So there's been this regional rivalry between Nigeria and Africa. So I believe in what Malema has said. If Nigeria and South Africa are able to lock horns, do things together, they are able to change the narrative of democracy in Africa. Unfortunately, South Africa seems to be doing better than us. than what we see in Nigeria. They are able to hold their leaders to account. Look at what happened to Jacob Zuma. You know, look at what happened to Thabo Mbeki. Look at how they are holding Cyril Ramaphosa to account. And we don't see such things here.
We're too respectful.
We are too respectful. We are more African than other Africans. You know, in Africa, you don't say evil of your elders. You know, he's your elder. When you come, you koto and do all of that. So the thing, that African culture of respect is impacting negatively on us. When somebody talks to the governor and says, do you know that you are talking to the governor? Do you know who you are talking to? Meanwhile, you have surrendered your rights, you know, to the governor to hold in trust for you. Now, the same governor turns around to oppress you, and Africans expect you to behave African and keep quiet. So in the economic sphere, we see Nigerians troop to South Africa, you know, to look for jobs, menial jobs, bad jobs, off jobs, and all of that. But when South Africans, and when we do that, they are against us. You know, you recall xenophobia, how Nigerians have been lynched and killed in South Africa. So that is our own export to South Africa. Now, what is South Africa's export to Nigeria? Big business, multi-choice, MTN. You know, talk about big businesses here that are doing well in Nigeria that are South African. So do we have, Ndoka took this day to South Africa. They frustrated him out of South Africa. There's another company, Afri Invest, went to South Africa. They had problems and all of that and came back. So how are we able to play within the African continent and compete favorably, competitively with South Africa? Their democracy is getting better than our own. So Nigeria needs to do some kind of introspection, do some kind of soul searching. Beyond South Africa, which is in another region, let's look at Nigeria. Let's look at the West African region, where Ghana seems to be taking everything from us. Companies live here because of the unfavorable business environment. They don't go back home. Where do they go to? They go to Ghana. And Kenya. And when AU rolled out after the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, they were considering between Nigeria and Ghana, where do we side the headquarters? After South Africa had taken away in a pad from us, Ghana took after. Africa headquarters is in Ghana, not in Nigeria. And when US presidents want to visit Africa, they choose Ghana and West Africa, not Nigeria. So we need to put our acts together and see at what point did we miss it. This is the time for us to build. We have what it takes in terms of demographics, in terms of population, in terms of size, in terms of mineral resources. Look at the ocean line. Look at our shorelines. You know, that between almost two continents, the Atlantic and the Indian continent. Look at the Equatorial Guinea, that stretch of water, of ocean land. What do we do with it? Very well positioned. Look at our fertile land in all parts of the country, tropics and the north. We have everything that we ask for. The only thing we lack is leadership. That is critical. And 40 years ago, one of Africa's best sons, Chinua Achebe, wrote, he said, the problem with Nigeria is squarely the problem of leadership. 41, 42 years after he wrote that book,
we are still struggling with
leadership.
Your take?
It's a worrisome thing. It's very worrisome because I was still small, very small, when that apartheid thing. Well, Nigerian musicians were singing against apartheid. Up to Nigerian musicians, everybody in Nigeria was supporting South Africa. But I won't blame South Africa for, protecting their economy. If you want to bring a business in that will affect their indigenous business, they will try to frustrate you out. It's normal. China does it too. You can't go to China and tell them you want to sell something. They will tell you rather produce it here. So, but here in Nigeria now, what you need to do is just maybe settle your leader, one or two of our leaders, and then they will just give you business as usual. Look at how many have been caught in a Chinese court for illegal mining. And then another Chinese set of Chinese being deported because of cyber crime. You see, you can see how porous our leaders have made this country, and it boils down to the followers, because the followers always see themselves as slaves before the leaders. The moment you have money, then you can get to any political post. That's why you see people selling their houses selling their property, going to bank to borrow money because you want to contest for a political post. When such a person gets there, what do you think he would do? He has invested. He must make profit. We don't put leaders here that are ready to actually, set us in a level of development. People who have interest of this country, and that is the problem we are facing.
Okay, now this statement was made at the NBA conference. Yes, that's where these statements were made, and then Governor Mba also chimed in on it. He's quoted as saying that the law serves as conscience of the nation. Now, we excuse me. Earlier in the day, we're talking about how we're tinkering with the idea of putting a sort of adding to the Constitution that corruption cases should be time framed, completely sorted within a particular time frame. Let's talk a bit about the judiciary and the political space in Nigeria, how that has affected the impact of the judiciary, the responsibility on the judiciary to ensure that the political sphere in Nigeria thrives. The political economy in Nigeria thrives. Because we're talking political economy now. And these are basically these are lawyers basically conversing.
Can I comment? See, you can't protect the judiciary without first of all, curbing the executive. If you don't curb the executive, you can never protect the judiciary, because eventually the executive will overrun the judiciary. As long as key positions are, the responsibility of the executive to fix people there, then they are bound to compromise. Look at the House of Assembly. These are the ones that are supposed to make adequate laws to checkmate all of this. They don't do that. They are totally in line with the presidency. When the time you are going to the house, they'll be telling you that you are going there to support the. How can you go there to support the president? When you have your own separation of power, you have your own, the constitution empowering you to do certain things. You neglect that one, and then you are doing the one of the executive. And then what do you expect? And the executive, look at the one. Executive want to pay the same legislations that will regulate them. They are the one to pay and elect the executive. The judiciary that will monitor them. So would you put somebody that will come and be, giving you, looking at everything you are doing in office? It's a problem. So the problem still boils down to the legislatures, because it's their duty to make the law that will make the country move forward. But they are not making it. They keep making laws to suit the executive. They keep making the laws to suit it, and that is the problem. Because if you want to protect the judiciary, you must protect them from the constitution. For example, to be elected, all these key position elections should not be responsibility of the sole responsibility of the president. It's supposed to be the bodies like MBA, like all that are supposed to, elect somebody and then the president approve. That's how it's supposed to be. If you have that, then the judiciary is well protected. They can even fight the president if he's getting out of hand. But can they do that now? When the president is the one who elect the CGN, whosoever, and they are totally under his control. Look at we are facing the same thing in INEC. That's how our electoral system is bastardized. Doesn't have credibility anywhere. Even among Nigeria, doesn't have credibility. You keep fingering INEC because the INEC is totally under the supremacy of the president, even in the states. That's why when you go to local government election, what are you going to do there? Even if you win, they won't give you. You start going to court and running around. Who has that money? A civil servant who has a very clean sheet. He has retired and he wants to go into politics. Where will he get the money to be paying for lawyers to begin to look at begin to go fight this election he has won? Where will he get the money? So these are the problems. Until the law separates everything, it's such that the president doesn't have absolute control over all these things, then we can now begin to say that Nigeria can go to the level that it needs to go. Because all these things will affect the leadership. And that's why we are not having proper leaders in government. Okay, look at the federal allocation increase to the local government chairman. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody is talking. At the start, the only you hear you do one of small things they do here, and is that you tell us what is given to you. No, nobody cares.
All right then. All right, you want to add to that quickly, or do we?
Yes, quickly. I think the issue we have here is not a. I've always maintained, I've always insisted, that the constitutional provisions, are not our problem. It's a human factor. It's a human factor because if you talk about who appoints, the Supreme Court judges, the appeal court judges, and all of that, the NJC does simply makes recommendations to the president, for his approval and all of that. There must be a certain level of influence, I admit, So, but if you look at it, if you try to create an exhaust, you discover that it still goes back to the human factor. If you go to the United States of America, where we have something that a semblance of an ideal democracy, and that is where we always look up to. You see, it is still the president that appoints Supreme Court judges. The Supreme Court justices in the United States. It's still the president. But what he does is, ahead of the appointment, what we say is the Congress begin to question this person. What are his leanings? Is he Democrat? Overly? Is he Republican? Is he pro-choice? Is he pro-life? What are his thoughts? They go through his judgments all the time. Is it pro-capital punishment or leniency and all of that?
They even go through his presence on social media, the kind of things he reacts
and all of that, But that is not what we see here. And you see that a certain Janet Rano was appointed Justice Secretary by Bill Clinton. It was the same Janet Rano that set up the commission headed by Kenneth Starr, vindictive Kenneth Starr, by the way, that tried Clinton for close to 4 or 5 years of his presidency when the Monica Lewinsky issue made up. And one of the persons in that commission, young lawyer Brent Kavanaugh, I don't know if you remember Brent Kavanaugh, the person that was very upbeat about trying to nail Clinton. And when it was time for him to be appointed a Supreme Court justice, he had a problem of a sexual assault somewhere. You get the point. Right. So it's a human factor.
All right,
and
then.
all of that.
All right then. We'll come back to the papers. There's a headline here. It's not on the cover page, but I would like for us to talk about it. But let's go to Matthew Oguswada, our correspondent who's out on the streets, to talk to Nigerians about what they think about headlines from the dailies this morning. Matthew, good morning to you.
Good morning, Moses. Good morning to the rest of the crew. Good morning, Nigerians. It's another beautiful morning right here on the streets of Lagos. And as always, Voice of the People Television is right here at the Keja Underbridge to bring you the opinion of the Nigerians on what's trending on the newspaper dailies this morning. And I have with some Nigerians that would like to react to some political stories in the newspaper dailies this morning. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, your name?
My name is Tunde Babalola.
Okay, beautiful. Which of the stories would you like to talk to us about?
I'm concerned about the Alaafin and the Ooni of Ife. I'm saying it this morning that why is Ooni Ife always believe he is the leader of in the Yoruba land, and he acts with arrogance. He talks like no one can challenge him. He cannot just come in the Yoruba kingship to start ruling anyhow, in which the former king did not did such. The former king, the former Ooni of Ife, who is the leader of Yoruba land, he just came out recently. This president just came out recently and said that he's putting someone in a position. What is it called? Okoloma of Yoruba land. Is he the leader in Yoruba land? Is he Ooni Ife the leader of Yoruba land? Leader of all kings? Who told him he is the leader of all kings? That is why Alaafin is challenging him that title that he gave Okoloma, he should remove it, he should take it back. There's nothing like Okoloma in Yoruba land. It's not fair. You cannot just believe that you are the number one in Yoruba land. No. People can call you your number one, but don't believe you are number one in Yoruba land. We have Alaafin, we have Alake, we have Awujale, who is dead recently. And we also have this Ondo man, Obateru, Akinwutan. He's also a king. He's a paramount ruler too. You cannot just sit down and believe you are the number one in Yoruba land. It's unfair.
So what do you want to be done differently?
This will bring conflict between all Yorubas. The Oyo, the Onife, the Ifes, even the Ilorins.
All right. Let me come to you. Which of the stories would you like to talk to us about?
I think I will take part of that story which my learned brother just shared now. But the fact is that I don't even really know the bone of their contention, in the sense that maybe it's Okoloma of Oduduwa or Okoloma of Yorubas. I'm not yet to get the picture very clear. If it is Okoloma of Oduduwa, I think Oni of Ife have right, because we say the difference between Okoloma, between Yoruba and Oduduwas, there's a lot. There was a time the so-called Are Ona Kakanfo, Gani Adams, years back, he named somebody like that. That's a titleship he gave from his palace, and the late Alaafin of Ife challenged him that by the time the professor of that come wade into the matter, the man had to apologize because the so-called Odua, which is Gani Adam, did the normal thing. I think there's a rules for every games. I will not apportion a blame for any one of them, but I will advise the younger king, which is Alaafin, which is Alaafin. It's not up to 6 months now. It's not up to 6 months. And this particular brother, Ooni of Ife, have been there going to a decade now. And if you watch him very well, hardly he award a titleship. Ooni of Ife don't. If it's another king, you have seen so many things every year. But this year comes and gone, but you never see him just give out a titleship like that.
So what other story would you like to talk to us about?
I would like to talk of economy, which I believe it's very, very interesting things. Believe me sincerely, things are bubbling, things are coming back. We should not be so excited that some people always say we are hungry. As they are saying we are hungry. How many dead people are being picking on the road? I'm not talking of Lagos alone. The fact is, change has come. And once the change has come, everybody was ready to pay the price of the change. Look at that stand before us now. Only God knows how your parents get the money by send you to school, acquire that skill before you can say, okay, go out. So change has come and we must embrace change. There's no way if we pay the price of that change that comes, we will enjoy it later.
All right.
There was a time, I'm not finished yet. There was a time, none of these states in our country can pay the salary of their staff. But today they can pay salary, still have them in hand to do the infrastructure. So I'm moved for that infrastructure. Because the road we are standing here, as we are talking now, this place is supposed to be road. Because by the time they built this road, how many years ago, the motor that applied that road at that time they built this road, I don't think it's up to 50. But look at today.
So what do you want to be done differently?
Come again, sir.
What do you want to be done differently?
Nothing differently. I love the policy of the present government.
Really?
Yes, that is my point.
All right, so a whole lot of stories trending this morning, and of course a whole lot of Nigerians giving their views on the newspaper dailies this morning. But one thing is clear, we must embrace change, and Nigerians must also ensure that at this point in time, we get our INEC PVC as the registration commences today. We'll continue to monitor other developments closely and provide you with further updates as the situation unfolds. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you very much, Matthew, there. Well, Nigerians, they're speaking their mind on issues, lending their voice to the general conversation that we're having here. Well, let's bring it back to the studio. Lawal, you have a few things to react to about the Ooni of Ife and what the gentleman was saying as well. You have the mic.
Good. Now, the issue between Ooni and Alaafin is about giving a title, general title to anybody.
The Ooni best.
And Alaafin is saying that no, it's my right I am the one to do that, not you. And traditionally, from what I understand, Alaafin is right. Because Alaafin is a political head of the Yorubas nation, while the Ooni is the spiritual head of the Yorubas. So they are two separate. Now, anything.
Who is the traditional head?
That's the Alaafin. I mean, that's the political head.
No, who is the traditional
head? No, both of them are the traditional heads. We have so many traditional heads. Because
you can't have two
of the Yoruba nation.
Mm-hmm. Of the Yoruba nation. Mm-hmm. Both of them are traditional heads.
Yes, we call them fathers. Because one thing is this, the Ooni, that Ooni seat was where Oduduwa, was head of the Yoruba. So from there, he gave crowns to people to become kings. So when he gives crown, you will give crown to people in your area. Are you getting it?
No. There's a contradiction.
No, there's not. See, listen to this.
Oduduwa sat on the seat of the Alaafin.
No. There was no Alaafin that time.
There was no Alaafin.
That means the Ooni is higher than the Alaafin.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's what it means.
Yes. Okay. It's higher.
But the Alaafin is saying that, look, I am the supreme head.
At a point, Alaafin became the head. So Alaafin became the protector of the whole of the Yoruba countries. You understand? He became the protector. So he has the army. And then from there, his subjects become chiefs in different locations. So he now give them crown from himself. So for you to become king, it is he that will give you the go ahead, not the Ooni as of that time.
So the Ooni became a figurehead.
Yes, political. There was a separation of power at that time. Now, so that there was no conflict during the ancient time, because the Alaafin became the political head, the protector of the Yoruba nation. So all the generals became heads, chiefs in different areas. So from there, he gives them the crown to become king. But Ooni is always the spiritual head, doing the rituals and then worshiping the gods and everything. So he stands. That's how they now separated that. Okay, you are the spiritual head. Everything that has to do with the worshiping and everything goes to his side, while everything that has to do with political goes to the Alaafin. That's how they able to separate it.
Was Ile-Ife at some point a part of the old Oyo Empire?
Yes.
So the Alaafin conquered the entire Yoruba land.
No, you can't. They made it a law. You cannot attack Ife, because that is the spiritual head. Nobody attacks Ife. Mm-hmm. But the Alaafin, if there's an issue, the Alaafin will be called. You get it, to give protection to everybody. So he will move with the forces of the whole of
warrior arm.
Yes.
The Alaafin is the warrior arm.
Yes.
The Ooni is the spiritual leader.
Yes. Head of the whole thing.
It gets confusing, really.
It gets confusing, really, because I'm trying to see how. Sorry, Mr. Kunde. I'm trying to see how one who preceded the other, at some point,
became the
subject to the other.
Because this is not a subject. Look at it in the Bible. Look at they have the high priest and they have the king. They are not the same. You can't see the high priest begin to give crown to.
Let's stay within Ile-Ife, because if you want to bring in the Bible, I'll take you to the UK, where for anything, that in terms of giving honors and awards like the Queen's Council, KBE, Knight of the British Empire, and all of that, it resides with the Queen. Mm-hmm. With the king,
but they don't have they don't have their own spiritual head now.
No, the king is everything.
Now.
That is
everything.
But in terms of politics, it is the prime minister. Mm-hmm. So I don't want us to go there. I want us to dwell with what is happening here. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to, we are trying to untie is, at what point did the Alaafin become the political head? As against, and let's distinguish between political and traditional. That was why I kept asking that question: who is the traditional head? Because we know that it is the traditional head that normally confers chieftaincy titles. I think the crux of the matter here is that you can only confer somebody with a title in your domain, not in Yoruba land. I am the only one that is empowered to say you are the ABC of Yoruba land.
That's what the Alaafin is saying.
That is what the Alaafin is saying.
And
I'm saying, at what was Ile-Ife at some point a part of the Oyo Empire, old or new? That would lay it will put paid to the argument who is superior to the other in terms of conquests. At the point you were here, I conquered you and now subjugated
no,
you. So
it's not that way. It doesn't
me.
work that way in Yoruba land. You get it?
And then you people, it's your tradition that is causing the problem.
No, it's not the tradition as such. It is because we have
it doesn't work that way in Yoruba land.
This one, you are having modern conflict between two traditional heads.
Okay.
You get it? It's a modern conflict between the two of them because they don't go deep into the history. In those days, it used to happen this way, and they don't have all this conflict. Why? They don't have it because this one recognizes. Okay, if the Alaafin, when we have a new Alaafin, the Alaafin must go to Ife to be sworn in with the sword of Oroyan, who was the founder of the Oyo Empire. You can see he must go there, but still, the moment you give him the power, then he becomes the absolute head. Just like we have the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò. The moment the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò will prostrate to Adam. Yes.
Okay, who confers that title?
General,
Who confers that
the Alaafin.
The Alaafin. Okay. So the Ooni is more like an intruder here.
Yes. That's the way I see it.
Or is it the way you see it, or is it the way it is?
It is in the history. That's why I analyze it to you now. That Ooni, that was the seat of Oduduwa. Okay. The Oduduwa gave crowns to people to become king. When you become king in the area you rule, you get it. You can appoint chiefs.
All right.
Or extension.
Well, let's move on, because I mean, if we continue dwelling on this, we'll continue to have different views. Different people will see things.
And another thing, sorry, there's another thing I want to say. 1 minute.
Something different.
And that's why you before you can become king, you must be accustomed to the culture, the norms and how it's done. Then another thing they are asking for in that paper.
With the fact that the Ooni was brought in from abroad.
No, I don't. It's not that I have problem.
Okay.
But I would have preferred anybody who is going to rule in Yoruba land must be somebody who is vast. Is always with the people, so that you understand how things are done. You will have asked questions and things, and not that you will bring you from somewhere and then from there you now start learning and creating issues. Now, what I'm trying to say is that there's something they said here that I don't subscribe to, because that is the genesis of all our problem. You are telling the governors to wade into that the issue of the traditional something. When they come in, they will just scatter the whole thing as they have been scattering it, because they are the one causing all this problem. When they come in, because they want their own persons to be there, they create issues. They begin to get involved. You don't need to get involved. What I expect them to do is for the ancient title holders to come in, set up a committee and see how it was done in the ancient, and then it has to be resolved among the traditional heads, the ancient heads, such as Olugbo, such as all those stuff. They are the ones that are supposed to come into it and then resolve this issue.
Okay, so we pray they do. We hope they come into it and resolve the issue once and for all. Now let's look at again. Tinubu lobbies Southeast ahead of 2027 election. That's how the Guardian puts it. The writers, no Igbo will contest president in 2027, says Ohaneze. Arugbo Ijaws back Tom Polo's door-to-door campaign for president's re-election. Oh, there's a door-to-door campaign going on already. But the president.
There is no position that started it.
The president can as well say he didn't ask anybody to do this on his behalf.
And
this is Tom Polo.
You can't ask someone to stop.
But it's not yet the campaign time.
For campaign, no, it's not.
So everything is
of course
going.
It's not yet.
So it's like the constitution is not. I don't know why it's not properly respected. That's it now.
You want to go first?
No, let him.
Reacting to this?
No, let him go first.
All right then.
Okay, no. I
the
think,
prof.
Yes.
You go.
I think we need to put this story in good context and in proper perspective. It is not Ohaneze that has spoken. Ohaneze can't say that. Ohaneze quite recently said, look, we are apolitical. We are a socio-cultural organization. We don't have political leanings. We can only, advise on social and cultural issues. Now, when newspapers tag this as Ohaneze has said, I'd like the viewing public to understand that the Isi Guzoro is estranged. You know, he's been in one faction or the other at some point in time for the past 10, 12 years in Ohaneze. So when he speaks like this, he doesn't speak for Ohaneze. He speaks for a certain faction, you know, that look, this is not what Ohaneze. And Nigerians are asking, Igbo people are asking, Southeasterners are asking, should he be the one to issue the statement? The Ohaneze has a president general in the person of Mbata. Chief Mbata. So why is he not speaking? Why is he Guzoro? Who authorized him to say that? So it should be dismissed. It should be ignored, you know, because he's speaking from, he's speaking based on some kind of stomach infrastructure. I have to say this pointedly and clearly.
Okay.
He is being sponsored, you know, by against us. And a lot of fingers are pointing at Dave Umahi, you know, the Minister of Works, who has at several times disparaged the Igbo nation by saying, look, the Igbo people are not ready for the presidency. How can we not be ready for the president? Way back in 1979, we were already vice president. And arrangements were like, by the time Shagari finishes, he will hand over to Alex Ifeanyi Chukwu Ekwueme. But the military truncated all of that. So how can you say that the Southeast is not ready for the presidency? Why are they not ready? The South has had its turn. The Southwest has had its turn. The thing came back again, and it went back to the Southwest. Isn't that injustice? Clear injustice. And somebody from the Southeast is saying we are not ready. When will we be ready? Is it because we don't have the people, or we don't have people to? We don't have presidential calibers, people that could be president of this country?
The question is, if you say you are not, some people are not ready, you should tell us your criteria.
And he's saying that
list their criteria that makes them not to be ready.
That it is by 1935. And Barrister here said it, and I was thinking about that. This administration, or the tenure of the South, by that Joint Agreement, will end by 2027. By 2031, rather. 2031. And it will go to the North. The North is already complaining that we've been shortchanged. Out of 26 years of democracy, we've done only 2 years of Yar'Adua and 8 years of Muhammadu Buhari, and that makes it 10 years. So the South has even done 16 years more than us. And by the time,
not counting the other ones that
no, they are not counting the other one. You're talking about from 1999, the Fourth Republic. So if power goes back to the South, to the North, in 2031, and all of a sudden you expect that it will come back to the Southeast in 2035, is that thinking? He's not thinking.
My own is very simple and clear. I see all these things as a means of creating divisions among them.
No, he's not creating divisions. He's taking money into his pocket.
It's just to have their way. For the politicians, when they pay somebody, he will come out and talk based on the fact that they've been paid to do that. That's what I see. Because me, as a person, I don't care where you come from. I don't care. As long as the country is doing fantastic, as long as you are coming to serve the people, you are supposed to be a servant, for God's sake, not for you to be like a demigod. So if the president is a servant and is coming in, I will select somebody with a clean sheet and is coming in to serve us, who cares when everybody is doing well? Even the governor. That's why I keep using the UK as an example. They allowed people they colonize to rule them. For God's sake, an Indian man that they colonized, ruled them way to shake the king. Every week he has to go and shake the king. He was elected, for God's sake, by the same people, by their masters. The same thing in USA. With all their powers, with all their knowledge, a black man from Africa, pure black man, ruled them for 8 years. We have black people in their parliament. We have black people, and the country is progressing. You should ask yourself, why are they progressing? It's because they have removed all these things from their system. They are always against it. But here, we talk about racism, and then we are the one that are doing it.
Okay.
We are the one.
All right. Let's talk about this headline. Federal government, 1 trillion naira needed yearly to sustain school feeding program.
You want
That's
me
what the federal government is
to
saying.
speak
Yes,
on that,
course,
which
of
I've
course.
always been against from the beginning. What do you mean by
Why?
feeding the people?
Why?
You are
Why have you been
taking daily. You are taking the food from the parents, and you are going at the back to feed them the children peanut out of what you took from the parents. Who crashed the economy? Is it the children? Is it the parents? Is it not the government?
Okay.
Why are we having issue with the economy? Why do you want to feed them?
Let me take a bit of the
I don't
story.
understand.
Excuse me, please. FG 1 trillion naira needed yearly to sustain school feeding program. The rider, Falana, demands transfer of recovered 32.7 billion naira, $445,000 to Social Investment Agency. Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima has said Nigeria may require a yearly budget of 1 trillion naira to sustain national coverage of the homegrown school feeding program. Now, he stated this at the weekend in Abuja during the National Policy Forum on the institutionalization and implementation of Renewed Hope National Homegrown School Feeding Program, organized by ActionAid Nigeria. Now, Shettima recalled that the recent launch of the initiative, it says he recalled the recent launch of the Alternative Education and Renewed Hope School Feeding Project, targeting out-of-school and highly vulnerable children with the ambition of reaching up to 20 million by 2026. Shettima stressed that school feeding must be understood not just as a social intervention, but as a national security investment, saying poverty, hunger, and lack of opportunity were the breeding grounds for extremism and conflict in the country's most fragile region. This is just as human rights lawyer Femi Falana. Okay, that goes on. Well, basically, this is what he's saying. That it needs to be continued because poverty, hunger, and lack of opportunity.
When you talk about poverty,
what the breeding grounds.
You have you have parents, you have children. Let me just say that a family, you have parents and children. Who creates poverty in the family? Is it not parents that are supposed to look for food to feed the children? If you feed your children well, why would they go out and eat another food somewhere else?
It depends on the age of your children.
No, I'm coming. What do you mean by age? If the children are under you, they are under you. Your children are under you. Are you not the one to take care of them? Now, if the government takes away your means of taking care of your children,
the government has decided to feed your children for you.
And they don't want to feed your children. Who will feed them? How many times will the government feed them per day? If the parent cannot feed his own children, how many times will the government feed the children for the parents per day?
It's a social safety.
No, wait. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you how many times will the government feed the children a day?
Wait. You're asking questions.
Yes, okay, sorry. Okay, go on.
If the burden on the parents is to feed the children 3 times a day, government is saying, let's save you that stress. Let's feed the children once.
Good. And so the children will now go back home and nobody to feed them for the remaining 2 remaining square meals a day. You can see now that money. Excuse me, I'm coming.
The government is not saying that they will take wholesomely the feeding of their children. They say, let's out of the 3, let's do one for you.
That's where I'm going.
You're asking who will take care of the other.
He already answered. Yes, I'm saying okay. Who will take care of the other? You can see that the government is saying, I cannot do the 3. I'll do only 2. Only 1 for you. You see that the remaining 2 still come back to the parents. Why not make the parents well-to-do? Let's start with the subsidy. Let me say you have a tailor, and is buying fuel for 100 and something naira to do his businesses, and then you take the subsidy away, and then the price goes from 100 and something is using to buy fuel to do his tailoring business to roughly 1,000 naira. Now, what is safe? Will he be able to save again? He won't be able to save very well again because he will have to add money to that to be able to buy the fuel. Now, when he increase the money to sew the cloth for the customer and they say, no, you can't afford it. So they went to get needle and begin to, patch their clothes at home. Yeah. Now, look at it. You see now that the parents will now begin to have shortage to feed their children.
So what's your
My own is very simple.
point exactly?
Go see this feeding you are doing. Go and subsidize what the parents will use to feed their children. Go and subsidize. Go back to that subsidy of fuel. Bring it out to the level in which the parents will be able to afford their own businesses and feed their family.
Mr. Kundayo, my take on this is this. First of all, my problem is the people in government. I don't know how they get their feedback. You know, people at the top there, how they get their feedback. The vice president that is saying all of this, if you look at the chain of command, the chain of information and authority, do they feed him well? He's talking about 1 trillion naira, you know, every year to be able to sustain this. Now, the question I'm asking, for how long are we going to do that? If you go, even in advanced economies, there is what they call social security, their social safety nets. If you are transiting between one job and the other, you know, if there's a loss of employment and all of that, the government is able to take care of you for a certain period to enable you transit, you know, to another one. Now, in all of this, so I don't have a problem with the school feeding program. There are food stamps in some parts of the world. You know what they call food stamps. You get your ticket. Like you said that in some schools here, way back, you know, in Lagos State, some people used to enjoy it. Beautiful. My major concern is why the government is doing all of this. Short-term, stopgap measure. What are the long-term policies to ensure, you know, that the people that you fed for 1, 2, 3 years, you don't keep on feeding the same set of people? What plans do you have to move these people out of poverty? Like we had China move close to 400 million people out of poverty within 30 years. Like India did the same thing. What plans do we have on ground that, okay, like in the next 10 years, we should be able to take, out of the 133 million Nigerians that are in acute poverty, are we able to take 20 million out in the next 10 years? Let us use that as a development plan and work towards that. Do we have that? I'm not sure that we have. So when they plan, you see that they want this thing to happen for 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years without a long-term plan. That is where the problem is. That's where the problem is.
Indeed. Oh, well, these conversations, and also the fact that the school feeding in the past had brought up some questions as to fraudulent activities taking place, especially during COVID. Nigerians are still asking.
Yes, that's another angle to it. Yes. So they want it to persist so that those of them that are in office will keep enjoying that loot.
Nigerians are asking questions, and you're bringing up the same policy again, and you're asking for 1 trillion naira. Some states don't even have that as a budget for the year. But oh well, we'll keep our eyes on this conversation. Thank you very much, Lawale Kundayo, a public affairs commentator, an educationist, and a farmer. Well, thank you very much. He was giving me lectures the other day on how to rear chick from eggs, as against, you know, buying the chick itself. You know, and it's something also tinkering with.
Okay, that's good.
I'm trying to, you know, do some sort of subsistence farming.
It's
So,
good.
well, Chukwuma Okoro will be back later this evening at 6 p.m. on Political Lens. You want to share? What
Something big, something huge is happening. Now we go to PDP, where 2 issues are on the front borders now. Now the governor said, look, November 15 National Convention stays in Ibadan, non-negotiable. And they are saying some people at the top are involved in anti-party activities, and we are going to take very serious and active decision against them.
Indeed.
Join me then, 6 o'clock. Promises to be very interesting.